What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the mid-season recap here of TFGO. This league's been so awesome, so much following of the league, so many people interested in it, and as well, the people in this league have been fantastic. Huge shout out to the guy who's actually the commissioner of this league, who was really the mastermind behind this entire league, Justin Lancaster, former karate world champion, lives out in Japan, inspiring the youth out there, preschool teacher, and he devotes so much time to this league and just policing the rules and just letting everyone know what's going on, making sure this league is as realistic and sim as possible. This would literally not be a thing without him. We saw what happened in my own subscriber league. I was not able to maintain nearly the realism we've seen in this league here. So this is the mid-season recap here. We're about to hit week 8 here, entering my personal bye week. Thought it was a good time to do this video. So let's run through the standings here. Starting in the AFC, the Raiders on top. Although for some reason they're listed ahead of the Steelers here, just a classic Madden glitch there. But the Raiders defensively have been outstanding. The Steelers have been dominating as well. These two guys are probably the favorites for sure in the AFC, but the Jets have been very surprising there at 5-2. The Patriots, as you would expect, 5-2. Chargers had a hot start, but have lost a few games straight now, 3 in a row. We got the Chiefs 5-2, Colts 4-3, 3-3 for the Texans, Ravens, Jaguars 3-4, Broncos 2-4, and then Bills, Bengals, Browns, Dolphins, Titans. A lot of teams you might expect to be struggling here in the AFC. Looking through by division here, the Steelers obviously on top in the North, the Colts and the Texans kind of fighting off the Jags right there as well in the South. Titans way behind there. AFC East, Patriots and Jets. Great rivalry here. Really excited to see how that all plays out. Moving to the West, the Raiders, like we said, really good. The Chargers and Chiefs. Not sure what's going on with these standings here, guys. Don't know why it's not in order, but whatever. Moving on to the NFC here. And we're going to talk about a lot of good teams here in the NFC. The Cowboys, one of which 5-1, just picking up their first L on the year. Then we got the Giants are playing well. The Seahawks, of course, dishing the Packers and myself, the Packers, 54-0 in the first game of the season. And the Seahawks have won multiple games now by like 50 points. So they are a huge plus-minus margin, as you see here. 278 for, 68 against. That leads the NFL in defensive points. The Falcons are good. Their only loss coming against me, and then, of course, myself, 5-2, with losses to two of these top teams here in the Cowboys and the Seahawks. So a lot of good teams here in the NFC. Not going to rule out the Bucks either. He's been playing really well. And the Cardinals, who actually beat CV Dubs, who's here. So this NFC goes seriously deep here. I mean, we're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Clonito with the Panthers, a good player as well. That's 9 deep of really, really tough competitors here. And the Vikings and Lions had a rough start here in the NFC North, as we'll go through here by division here. But really just deep conference overall. So as we do look at the NFC North, it is myself in control more or less. The Vikings, we handled them 38-6. We'll see a rematch. Teddy Bridgewater played really poor in that game. I don't expect it to be so out of hand next time. And then the Lions, of course, we have a new owner here. So he was 0-3 when he took over. So things are going better here, as he is 2-1 since getting back. Maybe he'll get into the picture here. And then the Bears really struggling this year. A lot of close games, though. I don't think he's going to finish as bad as it is there. And then the NFC South is pretty loaded here. I think these guys are all pretty good. We'll take a look at the East. It's going to be Cowboys and Giants, as the Eagles and Redskins have pretty much fallen out of the picture here entirely in the NFC. Starting to look at draft capital maybe there. And then in the NFC West, of course, this is probably the best division in the entire league. I mean, you got Hawking Regime with the Seahawks here. Make sure you check out his channel as well, as he's covering the league. Absolutely handled my ass, but you know, he's lost to the 49ers, who lost to the Cardinals. So these guys are all battling it out. Going to be really fun to see how that all plays out. All right, let's talk about some trades here. We have a lot of trades to talk about here. It's been a while since I did a recap here. Had some technical difficulties, so we're back at it here. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. Myself making a blockbuster here. The trade of the year, picking up wide receiver Allen Robinson from the Jags. He was ready to move on from the receiver, and his contract was expiring. He wasn't producing in Jacksonville. Kind of made sense to me why he wanted to move on. A lot of people, because obviously Allen Robinson is a freak in Madden, thought it was a bad move. Not a move I would have made myself. Obviously, I prefer Allen Robinson here, but I think in real life, it is pretty realistic that the Jags would move on. Hell, he might hit the open market in free agency outright here in just a matter of weeks. So Packers loaded here at receiver now. In return, the Jags did get quite a bit, I would say. They get Brett Hundley, who's going to be his quarterback of the future, probably. He's a very good Madden player as well. A 2018 first, which will probably be in the late 20s, I'm hoping. And then a little throw in here as Kofi Amichia, late round pick guard, gets thrown in here, a good run blocker that he was looking for. And then the Lions will be sending Nevin Lawson to the Titans after they had acquired Deshaun Shedd earlier this year. No more going to need the services of Nevin Lawson, so they get a 4th round pick in return there. Eagles and Cardinals agreeing on a deal here that sends Bo Allen, the nose tackle, out of my own high school, Minnetonka, Minnesota represent, but he is heading to Arizona. In return, the Eagles will get a receiver, some depth there with Jerron Brown, and a 6th round pick. We got the Jets and Patriots making a little interdivision move here. And the Jets getting a tackle, Nate Solder, who was in a contract year. The Patriots were not going to re-sign him. So they actually pick up some receiver help as Brandon Cooks is suffering from a long-term injury here. Going to miss most of the regular season. So they get Quincy Enunwa, the breakout from 2016, and a 4th round pick. I like that trade a lot for both teams. Next, a trade that was just approved today, so it hasn't gone through here, but the Chiefs will be sending Alex Smith to the Cleveland Browns for a 3rd round pick, following suit with their plans in real life for Alex Smith. And the Cardinals also getting rid of John Brown after trading Jerron Brown away. So an exodus of Browns here in Arizona. This trade has not been processed yet, but he'll be sending John Brown to the Cowboys for a 4th round pick. Cowboys getting probably a much-needed 2nd receiver there in that group, although John Brown, probably not the long-term answer there. Ravens will pick up an edge rusher from the Redskins, getting Trent Williams from the Redskins, and they're going to be sending a 3rd round pick to the Redskins for Trent Murphy, and also getting a 5th round pick back. So pretty much a 4th round evaluation there for Trent Murphy. Last trade here has not been processed yet, but the Ravens will be sending young nose tackle Michael Pierce, an undrafted guy from last year, out to LA to play for the Chargers. And in return, they will be receiving a much needed receiving threat in Tyrell Williams, and also getting a 4th round pick back from the Chargers in that deal. So that's all the trades. Moving on to plays of the week here. We've got the Broncos hosting the good Raiders team here in week 4. And it's going to be Cordarrelle Patterson getting the punt here in the first quarter. First score of the game here as Cordarrelle Patterson breaks this one off. Raiders go on to win this one 44-13. Now we've got week 6 here, Texans and Browns, and it's going to be Will Fuller sneaking one in there up the middle. Deshaun Watson to Fuller. Texans get the win to get to 3-3, win the game 23-13. Now we've got week 4, and it's the Seahawks hosting the Colts, and they're going to fake the punt here on 4th and 1 on the 50, and it's going to be Madden here, breaking it up the middle for the touchdown. Hawks go on to win 42. Week 7 now, Taysom Hill in for the Saints as they are trying to score here before half, down 17 points, and he sneaks it in there somehow for the touchdown to make it closer at half. Now this is week 5. This was a battle. Packers, Cowboys undefeated, and it's going to be Trevor Davis getting the punt, making a juke, getting outside, and then putting on a little footwork there to get to the outside, and he's going to go. This game was a battle, but the Cowboys eventually win this game 34-27. to stay 5-0 here in week 5. So now we're back, week 7 here, and this is when Drew Brees was still in the game, and it's Clinton Dix, Clinton Dix, getting his 4th interception of the year, tapping the feet, a remarkable surprise interception there. And then here we've got the Cardinals, 49ers. This game was big. Cardinals really good, beating the 49ers in this game. The final score was 51-38, defeating CV Dubs. That NFC West is just loaded. 3 of the better players in the league out there out west. And then our last game here is, again, out of week 7, Packers Saints. Vintage Aaron Rodgers here, rolling out, waiting for the right opportunity. Hits Davante Adams there up the sideline, taps the feet. And now it would not be mid-season review without mid-season awards. So let's talk about some award predictions here, mid-season awards as well. So we're going to start with the running backs. The best running back in the league this year hasn't really been that close quite yet. It's Jordan Howard, and he's been getting a ton of carries. He's on pace for like 300 carries, but a good average as well, 881, 8 touchdowns here. Bears not been able to get any wins here. They're 0-7, but it's not been Jordan Howard's fault, that's for sure. But the runner-ups here are going to be Darius Jackson, who's going to be right behind Howard, actually, at 712 and 9 touchdowns. A surprising breakout there for Darius Jackson. And then how about Christian McCaffrey? Just the rushing alone, 712, 8 touchdowns. But as you would expect, getting involved as well in the receiving game, 22 catches, almost their leading receiver in receptions. So he's going to be a runner-up here as well. Moving on to the receivers, you would think for the Packers, once they acquire Allen Robinson and have Davante Adams, that they would be the top receivers, but it's actually Randall Cobb putting up probably the best numbers at receiver. Don't know if this is going to sustain, but at mid-season here, 9 touchdowns, 34 catches, almost 600 yards. Receiver of the year here at the midway point, but was really, really close with Mike Evans. Just a few more touchdowns there making the difference there. But Mike Evans kind of the runner up here. And then also Juju Smith-Schuster should be mentioned as well. He's kind of coming in hot here. Just 27 catches, almost 20 per reception, but 8 touchdowns. Coming in hot, looking for that best receiver award. For the tight ends, this wasn't even close. You got George Kittle leading the league in receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, and the only other tight end that's really close is going to be Travis Kelce, but 0 touchdowns there, making fantasy owners frustrated there. Let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. Best defensive lineman, interior guys. We're going by the real scale here, interior, edge, and linebacker, splitting it up like that, unlike the way Madden's going to do it here. We got Jarrell Casey here with 16 tackles for loss. That is incredible. All 16 of his solo tackles in the backfield and 33 total tackles through just 7 games. That is outstanding, but he's got Aaron Donald right behind him for the runner-up here for the defensive line. I mean, 11 sacks as an interior guy. He's on pace for 20 sacks as a D tackle. That is incredible. But let's also not forget about Corey Lugitt here out in LA, having a great year. 8 TFLs, so half of Casey, but way more tackles at 39, 4 sacks. Lugitt having a really good year, finally kind of meeting those expectations. Big contract guy. Moving on to the edge players. You probably noticed when I showed Aaron Donald there, we got Noah Spence, 18 sacks, 17 and a half rather. So he's going to be the best edge player here, no surprise there. But I will say Von Miller right behind him. He's got 11 TFLs to go with the 11 sacks. It looks like they don't count those together, is what I would guess based on what we're seeing there. And then more tackles for Von Miller as well. But we are going to go with Noah Spence for the midseason best edge rusher, and Justin Houston, a runner-up as well, with 11 sacks. Moving on to the linebackers here, as you might expect in a league where you can use your linebackers. The linebackers are going to have crazy interception numbers, and the linebacker of the year right now is Najee Harris, 11 picks. Now, he does only have 16 solo tackles, 29 total tackles, 4 TFLs, not really getting involved in run defense, but those 11 interceptions, you can't ignore that. You also got Jeremy Cash as a runner-up here. Terrence Smith as well. Let's keep an eye on him for the Packers. Preseason pickup, didn't start week 1, but we put him in, and tackle-wise, he's right there with these top guys, and he's a game behind. He's got the 6 interceptions. TFLs, he's right up there. So look for Terrence Smith to maybe get involved in the best linebacker towards the end of the year. Best defensive back, we went with Joe Hayden here, 7 interceptions. But also a nod going to Marwin Evans, breakout safety for the Giants. He's like a 64 overall. He's got 6 interceptions here. Actually let Darian Thompson go. Kind of a surprise release there, but definitely working out for the Giants as Marwin Evans is just killing it. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Richard Sherman and really just this Legion of Boom in general. It's hard to say based on stats, but let's go and look at the team stats here, because defensively this Seahawks team, man alive, 845 passing yards through 6 games. That is insane. Just 68 points. You can pick any member of this Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor. These guys all should be up for best DB, even though they only have 1 or 2 interceptions apiece. On to the MVP of the midseason. A lot of good options here, but we're going to have to go with Josh Dobbs, who's been killing it for the Steelers. 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, quarterback rating of 129. Steelers opponents just not able to slow down Dobbs, who's getting the surprise start here over Big Ben. Dobbs also decent rushing numbers, has like 202 touchdowns. So right now it's going to be Dobbs, but you got some good competitors here as well. Jameis Winston. We already talked about Noah Spence. Either of those guys for the Bucs could definitely deserve MVP talk. And then Aaron Rodgers, I would say, isn't too far behind Josh Dobbs. Does have some more interceptions, but 16 touchdowns. But we've played 2 of the best defenses in the league, in the Seahawks and the Cowboys. So I'm thinking those numbers are going to start to look better and better as the year goes on. Defensive MVP, you got to go give it to Noah Spence right now. He's got the sacks, 17.5. But obviously Najee Harris with those 11 interceptions, really impressive. And then I also am really impressed with what Aaron Donald is doing there with the 11 sacks, 5 TFLs. I know we gave Lugit the best D tackle, but overall, I think Aaron Donald deserves some midseason hype here for defensive MVP, and I think his is probably a little more sustainable than Lugit as well, just a much better player. Next award is the best trade in the league, and call me biased, but I'm giving it to myself. Allen Robinson coming over, and the numbers haven't been incredible for Robinson yet, but offensively, it has really opened up the door for this Packers team. We've scored 38 points in back-to-back weeks since acquiring him. And I think it was a good trade for Jacksonville as well. He was not using him very much. I think he only had like 5 catches through the first 5 games or something really low like that. But he picks up a first-round pick. He gets a good quarterback, good Madden quarterback at least in Brett Hundley. So that was just the best trade overall, I think. But I think also the Jets going out and picking up a quarterback in Trevor Siemian was a really good move. He's been surprising this year, and Trevor Siemian's been great for him. And then I also think the Cowboys kind of nailed it, giving up David Irving for a defensive guy in the middle here as they got Haloti Ngata, really the difference they needed to complete that defense that is 3rd in the NFL right now. They already had good edge rushers there with Taco Charlton and obviously DeMarcus Lawrence. So really no need there for David Irving. That was a really good trade. We're going to wrap it all up here with the breakout player of the year, and I'm giving it to the surprise running back breaking out for the Colts, who have needed a running back. I don't think they've had a 100-yard rusher for like 45 games, maybe 45 years. Hell, I don't know, but they've got a running back averaging 100 yards per game. Darius Jackson, a guy that was drafted by the Browns. Good job, Cleveland. But the Colts perhaps have found their man there. Other breakout candidates obviously are going to be Najee Harris on defense for the Steelers team with those 11 interceptions there, and just all those really low overall athletic linebackers getting involved in the pass game. You know, we talked about Terrence Smith for myself, but Jeremy Cash as well. All these guys having breakout years. So that does it for the midseason recap. Thanks for being patient as I didn't have videos coming out in the last week or so. Was dealing with technical difficulties, but seemed good to go now. Do like the video if you enjoyed. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next time.